close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us.
Hi there, my name is Edna Odongo. I'm a freelance writer. I also work with Jars of Hope in our volunteer capacity. I help them to mentor their children, teaching them about different things in life, teaching them the things that are important in life so that they grow up with a good attitude, they grow up to value the things that are important in life. Teenage pregnancy is a crisis. It's an issue that needs to be dealt with. It's an issue that as people in the society, as parents, as teachers, as mentors, as the government, all the stakeholders need to understand that we need to help these girls. Those statistics are an indication that there's a cry for help somewhere. Yeah, there's a need to pay attention to these teenage girls. Look at their behavior, look at their lifestyles, look at what is affecting them, what is making them go in that direction, what is causing them to lose sight of the values that they needed to have grown up with to avoid teenage pregnancies. So at Jars of Hope, one of the things that has become our concern is the issue of teenage pregnancies among young girls, because some of the girls we work with are within that age bracket where there's a possibility of high sexual activity, there's a possibility of teenage pregnancies. So what we have been thinking is that we need to help these girls. We need to find a way of shoring them up so that they continue with their lives even in spite of what happens. Of course, we are working towards helping them to stay away from teenage pregnancies. But even in cases where they occur, we need to find a way of encouraging them so they don't give up on life. We need to find a way of speaking positively to them so that they understand that although they have suffered a setback, they can be able to pick up and continue their lives. Because these are the children who are going to be members of our society in coming generations. We need to find a way of strengthening them and encouraging them and building them up despite what has happened to them. The society should take a step in talking to these girls, whether it is by way of creating programs that help these girls or talking to them individually. When we're talking about the society, we're talking about the parents, we're talking about teachers, we're talking about older siblings, we're talking about the church. These are people who should be able to come together and find a way of sitting down with these girls, create a forum where you can talk to these girls and talk openly about issues to do with teenage pregnancy. The fact that it is not something that we want to encourage, but even if it happens, there is no cause to lose hope. There's a way that this girl can still stand up and continue with her education, continue with the dreams for her future. Of course, with support from the rest of the society, helping her to go through this season in her life, and also teaching her to have the right kind of values that will help her to avoid any such things, in the same thing repeating itself. Because the problem is sometimes this thing keeps repeating itself. If it's not dealt with at the first time that it happens, you'll find that this girl may have recurring issues in that specific area. So we need to sit down with these girls, talk to them, speak to them about who they are, their value as girls, their value as they're growing up as women, help them to have a different attitude. Talk to them about sex. Talk to them openly about sex. Why it is not good for them to have sex before marriage. Why they need to focus more on building their lives and not, going astray and doing the things that lead to teenage pregnancies. Parents have a very important role in terms of teaching their young girls about sex education and helping them to avoid teenage pregnancies. Parents need to get rid of that fear and that self-consciousness and that embarrassment that most parents have when they're talking to their young girls about sex. They need to make it a deliberate thing, develop a relationship with your girl, develop a relationship with your daughters, and even with the friends of your daughters, because sometimes this thing is peer related. You know, you may have talked to your daughter, but you see the other people who are influencing her life. So parents need to reach out to their daughters, develop a good relationship with their daughters so that she's able to talk to you freely about the things that she's experiencing, the things she's hearing in school, because some of these things she'll hear other girls talking about, sex. She'll hear other girls talking about, I did this and that, and I got away with it. I did this and that, maybe I did abortion. So peer influence and the influence of other people on your daughter's life. So find a way of talking to your daughter. Build a relationship with her. Create a forum where she's able to talk freely with you, and make it something that you do regularly. Don't talk to her only on her birthday, or only when something bad happens, or when you see her with a boy, because that will not bring the right reaction from her. But make it a lifestyle so that she understands that this is how it is. I need to be able to be accountable to my mother. I need to be able to be accountable about my life, and my mother can be able to talk to me about these things and correct me when I'm wrong. So we need to learn to build such relationships. Parents need to have an attitude of looking forward instead of looking backward. What I mean is, because the pregnancy has already occurred, okay, this is the situation that we have. This girl is already pregnant. It's bad enough that she's going through the stigma and through the embarrassment and whatever else she has to deal with, including maybe even her education being affected. So with that already happening in her life, is it really worth it for the parents to start condemning her and start putting her down and magnifying the stigmatization? What parents need to do is to encourage this girl that she can still live her dreams, she can still have hope. She can still pick up the pieces and continue with her life. I don't think her education should be cut short. I think the parents should find a way whereby they can manage the situation, and she continues with her education, she continues with what she set out to do in life. Of course, the parents need to do the correcting and talking to her very openly about what has happened and the dangers of it, and the consequences. The consequences have to be emphasized so that the girl understands that this thing, even though my life will continue, there are certain consequences she can't avoid. She will have a child to look after. She'll have responsibilities after that. But can the parents just help her to carry those responsibilities? Can the parents form that moral support, that background support for her? Because this is a life that is precious. This is a life that is precious before God. We need to help this girl. We need to help her to stand up again and to be able to live her life again. You see, when somebody becomes pregnant at a young age, it doesn't mean that her life is over. It doesn't mean that her purpose for life has been cut short. It doesn't mean that she stops being what God called her to be. She can still be what God called her to be. She can pick up her life and become something better again. So parents need to do that, and the society also needs to come in, the church needs to come in and encourage this girl, speak to her positively, remind her that God has a purpose for her and she can be able to continue with life. You still have a purpose in life. Don't give up. The fact that you made a mistake, and probably a very grave mistake, because it's something that will affect your life, it will change the course of your life, that is true. It's going to have consequences, that is true. Your life will never be the same again, that is true. We've got to be honest about that. But the truth is, you are still you. You are still the person God created you to be. Your purpose has not changed. God has not changed his mind concerning you. So you can be all that you have ever wanted to be if you work hard, if you put yourself if you start looking at yourself in a positive way. Don't look down on yourself. I know that people may tend to look down on you or maybe treat you differently. But you see, what matters is what is inside you, what you see inside you, how you think about yourself. That's the most important thing. So have a positive value about yourself. Understand that you're still a valuable human being on this earth. You still have a purpose to live in this earth. And God hasn't given up on you, so don't give up on yourself. Look at yourself in a positive way. Look for a way to restart your life again. Connect with people who will speak positively into your life, whether it's your parents, your siblings, the church, or the neighborhood. Look for people who are going to speak positively in your life and make friends with them, and so that you're not just listening to negative things. You see, what you take in terms of what you're listening to, what you're paying attention to, is very important for you to be able to cross over into a new life and start your life again. So be very careful about what you're feeding yourself with, what you're listening to, what you're paying attention to. But most of all, think about the fact that you still are a valuable person. You still have value. You've not lost your value. So you can still pick up the broken pieces and you can continue with your life. Don't be quick to make decisions concerning your pregnancy. First of all, seek for good advice. Talk to people who will speak positively into your life and who will give you good advice. Don't jump into making unnecessary decisions or drastic decisions that will affect your life even more. I know there will be that pressure of maybe going the way of abortion. And you see, abortion, first of all, is not yet legal in Kenya. Plus, it has certain consequences, physical consequences, emotional, psychological, spiritual consequences. You don't want to go in that direction. So what I would advise that kind of a girl is get good advice from people who you respect, people who have wisdom, people who can help you so that they guide you through this part of your life. But abortion should not be an option. Don't go that direction. I would say keep the baby. There will be a way to work things out. There's always a way. With God's help, there's always a way to work things out.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left.
So as Jars of Hope, one of the things that we believe in is prevention is better than cure. So our strategy is to always capture this thing before it happens as much as we can. So what we want to do is to talk to parents, have a forum where we discuss with parents about bringing up their children in the ways of God, about how to handle teenage pregnancies, how to handle this thing when it comes, and about how they're bringing up their children so that this thing can be avoided. So we're coming up with talks with parents so that they're able to help their children to avoid teenage pregnancies and even any other issues that children face, at this time of their lives. So I believe that Jars of Hope is doing a good job, and we are working towards, helping these girls, even the girls who are facing teenage pregnancies. We want to be able to talk to them. We want to be able to discuss with them how they can rebuild their lives and how we can help them. So anybody out there who feels that they need help, who feels that they need somebody to talk to, feel free to reach out. Feel free to reach out to us. And even if it's not to us, make a point to reach out to somebody who can talk to you positively, who can help you, who can guide you, someone with wisdom, someone who is older than you, somebody who can speak words of value into your life. And I believe that it shall be well with you. I believe that, we can be able to work out the best. So thank you so much for tuning in and for listening.